Welcome to Unwritten, Stories of Significance. There's a lot of guests that I'm excited about, but this young lady, when I put out the word, or her and I were talking through social media, this young lady was right on my doorstep. Lily Frimpong is a beautiful young lady who is going to be sharing with you her story on public policies and social impact. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I want to give the platform. So with no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Lily Frimpong. Hi, Lily.
Hi, Joy. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, hon. Look at that engaging smile. Like, oh my gosh, it just lights up the screen, sweetheart.
Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for taking the time. I'm truly honored and privileged, hon. I know about you, and this is how I always start the show. I know about you, and I engaged on LinkedIn
Right.
and what you were doing and what you stand for and the person that you are, but the viewers really don't know about you. So if you can just educate them and introduce yourself, I would love that, please.
Okay, well, my name is Lily Frimpong, as Joy said. I'm 21 and I've lived in Toronto all my life. I've just completed my undergrad in political science. I think that's where my love of like systemic change and public policy really stemmed from. As a Black woman, I've seen a lot in my life and I've seen a lot of disparities within my city. So I definitely wanted to pursue a field that would allow me to have like a direct connection with the change. So that's why I'm pursuing, why I did pursue political science. I'm also a model. That's what I do in my spare time. And I'm just very excited to be here today to talk more about why I've chosen political science and why I've gone on to pursue public policy.
Wow, 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 wow. That's all I could say. You're so well spoken, like just
Thank you.
eloquent, just so beautiful. I'm gonna roll it back a little minute, just a little minute, so we can just break it down because your story is so powerful, so inspiring.
Thank you.
Your last name, Frimpong, like I love it, but there's a
Thank
story
you.
behind that. So if you can just explain your last name and your parents for me, please.
Right. So
Yes.
Frimpong is a Ghanaian name. So my dad is from Ghana and he's from the Ashanti tribe. So that's where the name comes from. And my mom is also African. She's Tanzanian, which is in East Africa. So I've always been really immersed in the African culture. And I love having my last name because it just reminds me every day that I'm African and that's my heritage and where I come from. And I just think it helps me stand out. And I just love that about me, like my last name. So,
Wow.
yeah.
When you were in school, like there's a couple of pictures we're going to get into it. We're going to just try and use this time because their story is so strong. When you were in school, were you ever asked what the meaning of your last name was? Like, were you ever questioned on it at all?
Um, Not really questioned, but I think people just had like a hard time pronouncing it. I guess because
Okay.
it was different and it wasn't what people were used to. But once I told them my background and where I come from, they were really intrigued. And then people even went as far as like learning about Ghana or just searching up like the tribe. So it was kind of fun to be able to kind of teach people about like where the name comes from and where I come from.
All right. Did you ever have a chance to go visit those countries though? Did you have a chance?
Yes. So
You did?
I've
Ah!
been to Ghana once. I went when I was 7, so like a long time ago. I was supposed to go last summer, but obviously because of COVID, that didn't happen. But I do plan to go again next summer. And I've been to Tanzania 3 times. The last time I went, I was 16, so I still kind of remember it, but I definitely want to go back to both places. So I hope that this summer I can definitely go to Ghana.
Now in Tanzania, what's the temperature like there? Like is Tanzania hotter than Ghana or?
So it kind of depends when you go, but I would say like if you choose to go in the summer, Ghana is definitely very hot. Like I remember the first time I went, I was standing under the trees the whole time. Like it's super hot. Like I was not prepared for that.
What kind of heat are we talking about? Are you talking humidity or dry?
Humidity.
Okay, so I'm not happening because it would not happen there for me. No, that is really hot.
It's humid. Like it's very, very hot.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. All right, my love, let's get into your beautiful story. So there's a picture that you shared with me because I asked you to share several pictures. And there was one that you shared of yourself 7 years old.
Yeah.
So doing your first communion. So the reason why you wanted to share that picture, because you were so pretty, you even got those beautiful
Thank you.
cheekbones even already within that
Thank
picture.
you.
So the reason why you shared that picture with us, honey.
I feel like as a kid, you really don't know what lies ahead of you. Obviously, you don't know what your future holds. So
Yeah.
I love that picture just because even as a kid, like I was very curious about the world. I knew that I wanted to help change the world. I knew that I didn't like injustice and I didn't like seeing people being treated in a way that they didn't deserve. So I think looking back at that picture, obviously I've grown into a different person and I'm a woman now, but the curiosity and the like determination for change was always there. So I always refer back to that picture because it kind of reminds me that I started out with this dream and I have to like carry on in my life and pursue that.
Wow. And you're doing that right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Right now. Boy, incredible. Like incredible. I'm gonna jump in here for a second before I introduce the next question.
Okay.
Who are your mentors within your life? Because when you talk so eloquently, you talk with such strength.
Thank you.
Like there is no fear there, I find. Like you just talk with strength, impact, and conviction.
Right.
So, who are your mentors, hon?
I know it's cliche, but I would have to say my parents, just because they've always made things work. And I feel like they've instilled that determination within me. Obviously, they came from their countries. They had a plan to come here and create a better life. And no matter what obstacles they went through, they always managed to make things happen. And they gave me like the opportunity to kind of continue that goal with going to school and participating in like advocacy programs and everything. So I feel like just seeing them always be determined and always get what they want done, like it instilled a feeling in me to always do the same. And like that's why when you say I don't talk with fear, I feel like I grew up in a house where we weren't really scared. We knew that everything would work out as long as we put in the work and we had good intentions. Things would always happen in our favor.
Beautiful, hon. Wow. Wow. Guys, you gotta keep watching the show. Oh my, gotta keep watching the show. All right. One thing I wanted to ask you, modeling.
Yes.
All right. So you did some modeling. When did you start that? What age?
I started modeling when I was 19, so 2 years ago. Around like April or May of 2019, that's when I started.
Okay. All right. And there's a picture, a beautiful picture. And there's a question that you put with that picture, which I have to address because it tells about your story and being proud of who you are. You were saying, growing up, it was hard to embrace my natural hair. Now, every Black woman out there can answer this question. Okay. And you have this picture that is shown, which we're going to show throughout this segment. Why did you want to express that? Why did you want to share that with the viewers, hon?
I just feel that growing up, we were never really portrayed as beautiful. When I would watch TV or just look in magazines, you know, when you're a little girl, those things matter to you. You look for representation because that makes you feel like you matter. That makes you feel like you're beautiful. So never seeing that kind of instilled this idea in me that maybe I'm not pretty, maybe I'm not successful, maybe I'm not worth it. So when I finally got to the age where I loved myself, I knew that I had to portray that because there was probably also like little girls that felt the same way. And I would never want anybody else to feel that way. So I definitely want to show people that Black is beautiful and that natural hair is beautiful. It's professional and it should be treated as such.
Wow. I'm going to pick from that, just what you just said there, learning to love myself. Because this is something I always ask my guests, every single one. What is it you love about yourself? But you said you learned to love yourself. When did you discover about learning to love, Lily Frimpong?
I think honestly, it was when I started modeling is when I fully came into loving myself because I was surrounded by so many beautiful Black models who also embraced who they are. And it just made me want to go on that journey as well. So I think just having that positive influence always around me and seeing just beautiful Black models also embrace themselves made me want to do the same. But I didn't want to do it for other people's validation. I wanted it to be like a genuine journey. So I made sure that I did it on my own terms because I feel like a lot of people try to pursue this idea that they've loved themselves since they were little. But I think it's a journey that everybody goes on their own time. So that's when I personally started my journey.
So for your own validation.
Right.
I love that words. Can you embrace that some more? Because that is good stuff, hon. Go for it.
I just feel as though, especially in this generation, in this society,
Yes.
we're always doing things for other people.
Yes.
But if you always do things for other people, you're going to be left with nothing. And at the end of the day, nothing really matters if it's not for you, because we're all living for ourselves. We all have our own goals, our own dreams. So I wanted to make sure that when I love myself, it's for me, so that no matter what anybody else thinks, I'm good with who I am and I can continue to portray that to the world.
When you look in the mirror, my love, when you look in the mirror, what do you love about Lily Frimpong?
I would have to say my strength and my determination. So even though I may not have started out loving myself, I didn't give up on myself. That's something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with. If things don't work the first time, they give up. But in life, you have to keep pushing. You're here for a reason. So I'm really just proud of myself for sticking it out and just giving myself time to learn, to make mistakes, and to grow into who I'm meant to be.
Wow. So when you fail and you make mistakes, how do you treat yourself?
I think it's normal to blame yourself as a human, no matter how good you try to be. But I think with time, you realize that if you stay in that negative mindset, you'll always be in that negative mindset and you'll never have the opportunity to grow and flourish. So you kind of reach a point where you're like, I want better for myself. I need better for myself. And you're able to really take the steps to do better next time.
Right. Do you set high goals for yourself?
Yeah, I always do. I feel like in life, you should always strive for better. You should always strive for more. And if you have good intentions, the universe or whatever you believe in will automatically align you with that. You just have to put in the effort and stay determined. So I always like to set high goals for myself.
Right. Wow. We're coming up to the break, the commercial break, but there's something that comes to mind. And when I'm talking, this is a great conversation. I love these kind of conversation because you can just, like a hamburger, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you look at the TV now, you see a lot more culture being embraced.
Right.
All right. Really quickly before we go to break, how do you feel about that? Because I see a lot of culture happening within our commercials and TV. How do you feel?
Definitely. I feel like it's a good start, but it's also very performative. I feel like people only do it to come off as representative, but it's more than just what you represent. It's about your policies. It's about what you enforce in your corporation. So it has to come with real change and not just performance.
Okay, when you say real change, what do you mean, real quick?
It's really about how you treat people on a day-to-day basis and not just what you show to the world when everybody's watching.
Wow. Oh my God, I gotta have this lady back. Anyway, guys, you are amazing, hon.
Thank you.
You're incredible. All right, honey. On that note, guys, we gotta go to break and we'll be right back with Lily Frimpong. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Unwritten Stories of Significance with Lily Frimpong. Lily, you blew that out of the park.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Phenomenal work. And I don't want to take it away. So I'm going to do this and I'm just going to introduce you again. So we covered your family. We covered embracing your true self with your beautiful natural black hair.
Right.
Media, seeing more culture being embraced within TV. But now we're going to talk about your history and what you've accomplished within school. Okay. And you've been a busy lady.
Yeah.
Right, my love? So if you can tell us where you went to school, what you've embraced, and why you're studying what you're studying.
Okay, so I went to the University of Toronto. I studied political science.
Yes.
I really wanted to pick a program, like I said earlier, that was just really linked to change. I didn't want to be in a passive career where I just saw people being mistreated and I didn't really have an impact on that. So I made sure to do political science, and I recently graduated in June from that. And I definitely wanted to continue my education because I feel like education is definitely the key to change. So I've really been focused on pursuing public policy. But in the meantime, I'm currently doing public relations at Humber College because I feel like communications is a very, very important skill to have within the world of politics. I think the main reason, I'll tell the story why I
Yeah,
wanted to do
please.
public policy was because in my graduating trip, so I took a trip in grade 12 when I was graduating to the Dominican Republic, just to celebrate finishing school and just to enjoy my summer. And it was supposed to be a very like relaxing, laid back trip, but we actually got to go into the town and just speak to like children and really just connect with the local people, which was amazing. But what we realized was that a lot of kids in the local communities didn't have access to education, and the government really didn't take it seriously. It was an issue that they had brought up for years, but nothing was being done. And my school was actually able to partner with a lot of local stakeholders and external stakeholders to create a school for them and to actually build a school. And I really, like, when I got home, I really just thought about the kids, and I thought about what would happen if we didn't come to visit them. What would happen if we weren't able to instill education within that city? It's definitely connected to the policies that they have in place, because if they had active policies that protected kids within education, they would be able to have that school from when they originally brought the issue up years ago. So that really stemmed something in me, and made me decide to take public policy, because I knew that that problem was also active no matter where you go, that there was always going to be issues that were always ignored, and that public policy would be the direct solution to that. So that's basically why I decided to pursue public policy.
Okay, but let's celebrate what you graduated from. It's a beautiful picture of your graduate picture that was shown. University of Toronto, honors Bachelor of Arts,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Science, okay, political science,
Yeah.
right? Equity studies and psychology, correct?
It was sociology.
Sociology. Sorry, I always get that mixed up, guys. All right.
Nice.
That's big. That is big, my love.
Thank you.
Now, you said something through, and I wanted to say that because sometimes they say it, but I want them to feel proud of what they've accomplished.
100%. Yeah.
You did that, my love. You did that, and you're using it productively
Right
now. But there's something throughout this, what you just said, when you said, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that wasn't treated right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I just touch upon that for a little minute? Can I just pull that out and we can just talk about that for a minute?
Right.
What made you say that?
So I feel like depending on your social location and your identity, you're not always looked at with the same potential as people who have privilege. And that in turn turns into horrible policies that don't necessarily protect you or help support you. So for example, these kids, because they were low income, the government didn't really take their situation seriously and knew that they couldn't afford to go to school. So their desire to go to school would never be the same as, let's say, the rich kids who had enough money to fund their own education. So it really depends on like how society views you, because if you're not necessarily viewed with the same standards as someone who has privilege, you're not going to be treated right. And that's going to translate into policies that don't necessarily protect your well-being.
So when you really, really think about it, I might be repeating myself here, but you truly believe that there's a lot of loopholes still, right, Lily?
Yes, I do. I feel like depending on your social location and what resources you're able to acquire, it ultimately determines how policies protect you. So for example, those kids, because they are low income, the government didn't really take their requests necessary. And that's why it took so long, to the point where we had to step in and create educational opportunities for them.
My God. Oh my God. You know, it breaks my heart sometimes, because myself going out speaking, I remember there was one place up in the Brampton area where there was certain funding that they didn't get about a certain amount of money as some privileged schools got.
Exactly.
And that's what really touched me. And that's still what's happening right now.
100%.
Wow, hon. So pretty girl. I want to embrace this. Engagement specialist with the Canadian Council for Youth Prosperity. Yes. So talk about, you give me some attitude. I don't mind.
Well, it's actually been like my 1-year anniversary. I think it was like 2 days ago. I've been working there for a year. The Canadian Council for Youth Prosperity is a nonprofit organization. And basically what we do is we directly connect with stakeholders within Canada to create better job opportunities for youth. So my specific role is as a resource development specialist. So I talk to service providers and small businesses and basically kind of see what gaps they have when it comes to hiring youth and retaining youth. And we basically, like me and my other resource development specialist coworker, we work to find the resources they need to fill in those gaps. So whether it's funding or just how to interact with different groups, I'm responsible for finding those resources.
And how have you found it so far? Congratulations on your 1-year anniversary. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I find the work really fulfilling and really rewarding. And just to know that I'm really contributing to better opportunities for my generation makes me so happy, because I know that we're the future. And the more support that we get, the better that we can make our future. So I'm very, very happy to be working where I'm working.
All right, hon. I'm going to get a little bit to the core here, because I like to get to the core, because it awakens conversations that need to be kept on the platform.
Right.
All right. Systemic change. What's your input on that, my love?
I think that systemic change is a process that takes, like, everybody has to contribute to that process.
Right.
I think a lot of the time the onus is on us, like whether it's the racialized person or just the disadvantaged person. But I think it really is a team effort. We all need to contribute to it, whether it's advocating for your group or whether it's using your privilege to advocate for the disadvantaged group. It takes all of us for systemic change to happen.
Okay. When you say privilege, we've talked about this on the show was Future Prospects, but now it's Unwritten Stories of Significance. We've embraced these stories, right? With Mamalak Kakak, with Nunavut. We've covered it with Kwasi Adupoku, that you know very, very well. We've covered this with Trish Peters. Why is it that you feel that through what we've gone through, why is it that things still are the same? Like, well, what is it going to take, Lily? What is it going to take?
I think it's going to take, honestly, people who are in positions of power closely working with the people who require the necessary changes, because it's only those disadvantaged groups that truly know what they want. But it's like both groups kind of have something that the other group doesn't. So that the people in power have the power to change it, but they don't necessarily have the experiences to know what change needs to happen. And then the people who need the changes understand what they need, but they don't necessarily have the power. So I think that both groups have to work together, and the people who are in power need to really just closely work with disadvantaged groups to understand what exact changes they need when it comes to policies.
So now, you being a young person has done so much and creating such great change, and it's going to be amazing when you just go like this, like you're already doing it. You're already doing it.
Yeah.
My question to a police officer a couple of days ago, an ex-police officer, she was saying that it takes a lot of money to get good leaders in power. So there's great leaders out there that want to be part of this platform, but it seems to be like they're trying to get there, but they don't get in. So do you think that there is still a problem in them getting into it, or people helping them, funding them, getting them into the leadership roles?
I think there's definitely a problem and a gap within that, because if the people in power don't necessarily see that potential within them, they'll never have the opportunity to have those positions of power and actually change their community. So I think it comes down to just a lack of belief. When people see racialized people or people who are in disadvantaged groups wanting to rise up, they're never really given the opportunity, or they're never really given the resources they need to take those steps to change their community. So there's definitely a gap in that area.
Right. Have you yourself ever dealt with any issues with your beautiful race, huh? Your color, being a Black woman? Have you?
I think definitely, especially being an African woman, there's always that just ignorance when it comes to Africa, people believing that you come from poor beginnings and that you don't necessarily have the resources, or that there was no way that you could have the capability to be smart. And that's definitely ignorance that I can continuously see in the world, just with the way that Africa is portrayed on TV and in the media. People still believe that we're poor and that we don't have the capabilities to rise and to change the world.
Oh my gosh. Now, we know that you're still attending school, as you explained in the first segment. But what is your next journey? Because we're coming to the end and you are coming back. What is your next journey, sweetheart?
I would definitely say after school, I definitely want to either start like my own nonprofit or just really work in a position of power, maybe as like a federal policy leader, so that I can really just use what I've learned in school and put it into action, because actions are the only ways that we can really change the world and make it a better place for the future generations to come.
Wow, hon. You're coming back.
Definitely.
You are coming back. I want to thank you from my heart. You are an amazing, amazing person, Lily Frimpong.
Thank you so much for having me, Joy.
Oh, it's my pleasure. All right. Good night, sweetheart. Give me the heart. Give me the heart. I haven't done this in a while. Give me the heart. Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye-bye, honey.